Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Asensio, and I'm one of the admissions and recruitment coordinators here at the School of Nursing at UCLA. And we are doing our student panel today with some of the alumni and current APRN students. Please share with us your name, your specialty, and where you are working now.
Hi, my name is Nicole Felix, and I graduated in June 2023 from the FNP specialty track. And currently, I am at the VA for their nurse practitioner residency. It's a one-year residency.
Hi, my name is Araceli. I am currently in my second year, and I'm in the advanced practice acute care program CNS option.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Chung. I also graduated in June of 23 from the acute care program, and I'm currently working at Cedars-Sinai.
So hi, I'm Stacy. I graduated last year. I was in the adult gerontology primary care NP program, and I am currently doing a residency in Las Vegas with the VA.
And for our first question, why did you choose the UCLA APRN program, and how did it align with your career goals and aspirations?
Okay, so first, so I was really drawn to UCLA's focus and commitment to diversify the healthcare provider pool in closing healthcare gaps and really their focus on vulnerable communities and the ties that they had within the Los Angeles area. It was the only place I applied to. I just really felt connected to their vision and their mission, and yeah.
Okay, I can go next. So I actually went to UCLA as an undergrad for the nursing program as well. So very familiar with the UCLA School of Nursing and kind of how they are focused on making sure that they try to prepare their students as best as they can for the nursing program. And I think it was a great opportunity for me to try to go back again to get an advanced practice degree. Also with Nicole, this was the only program I applied for. So I really believe that this was a good choice for me personally, and I actually really wanted to just get into UCLA. I think it'd be nice to be a double Bruin. So there's a lot of pride with that.
So UCLA, same as the other two, was one of the only programs that I applied to. It was local, it was in the area. I wouldn't have to change I was looking at other programs in other states, but then to get another job out there to kind of reset my whole life while going to school, I applied to UCLA and I was lucky enough to be able to get in. So that was kind of why I prioritized UCLA.
So UCLA for me was a dream since I was a little girl. I was born and raised here in LA. And then I started getting older. I wanted to apply to a school that would give me that would challenge me and prepare me so I could be working in the field of nursing, and I could be prepared so I could be there's a lot of competition out there, so I wanted to feel very competent, and I wanted to feel very comfortable in my role. So I felt like UCLA was going to give me that opportunity.
And can you share some of the most valuable experiences or skills that you acquired during your time in the program?
Yeah, I think something that I didn't really expect that I would gain going in, but I did, is the focus on research and how well versed comparative to other programs we've become in research and analyzing research and in applying that to clinical practice. I think that's something that was really valuable, and going forward, if you're looking into getting in to any academic or research focused institutions, that's something that is really beneficial to have. As far as the variety in clinical experiences that we were able to have, the choices that we were able to have when giving our preferences to where we would like to gain experience, I thought that was really helpful.
Also piggybacking off what Nicole said about clinical, I think it was really helpful that we we're not only able to voice where we wanted to have our clinicals at, but just kind of being placed, sporadically sometimes was actually a nice option at times, just so we can get different ideas of how different specialties work, from both inpatient and outpatient settings. So I think that was a really valuable experience for me. Also, just continuing to learn how to manage time. I think that's like one of the main things that we start off learning when we first started nursing school, and we apply it when we work. But it's a different experience learning how to manage time when you're an advanced practice provider.
For me, I think the most valuable experience that I was able to obtain was the network that comes with, as Jen said, kind of sporadic placement. Um, the the different professors and the different preceptors that we had, I still keep in contact with them and just kind of check in with them. And they're such a valuable network for me that I think that that was something huge that the program did supply for us. I think UCLA is one of the few that does provide preceptors for us, and it does kind of take some of the burden off us. And then the skills, as Nicole said, with the residency program, we're having to do another EBP project, having that research background from school, and it was so rigorous, made this EBP project that's coming up a lot smoother, where I can just focus on kind of learning how to be a practitioner rather than kind of worried about how am I going to do this research.
I think for me, I didn't realize how much of a weak writer I was, and having so many assignments and having them being very, I don't want to say super critical, but it was constructive criticism, and always giving us good feedback so we could improve. I think that's so helpful. As a CNS, I will be responsible for writing policies. And I mean, that's a very valuable, something very valuable that I'm going to learn and that I didn't know before. And I'm not sure if another school could have given me that opportunity to become a better at what I want to become.
Can you describe your clinical experiences and the diverse range of healthcare settings where you gained the hands-on practice?
Yeah, so like I mentioned before, you really have a lot of liberty in voicing your preferences for the types of clinical settings that interest you, or getting, whatever is available. And I personally voiced my desire to work with the homeless community here in Los Angeles. I wanted an opportunity to learn more about trans care and gender affirming care. And I wanted to work with Spanish speaking population, as that's my first language. And I got to do all of those things. And it was just such an invaluable experience to have such diversity in my clinical practices. And I was able to make connections at different places, get letters of recommendation for my current position. And I was able to actually get a job position at another one of my clinical sites. And I think, yeah, just making those connections while you're there, making good impressions, and just valuing, like Stacy said, the network that is available to us being at UCLA.
So my current position, I actually was able to get hired there because I had my clinical rotation there as well as for vascular surgery. So I think it was actually something I never really even considered, pursuing when I first started as a student. I didn't really even know about vascular surgery being a specialty. So kind of being placed, like I mentioned earlier, in, different specialties that you may had no idea or any interest in is actually could be very beneficial. And I think one of the professors told us that when you do go to clinicals, think of it as like a job interview. You want to make a good impression to your preceptors and the people who are, kind of watching over you, and some of the attendings as well. And it could really, progress to become an opportunity in the future. You never know. I was also very lucky to have different experiences at different health systems throughout LA. Also, just being able to understand how each health system works with their specific population, because there's a lot of people who live in different parts of Los Angeles that will seek care at these hospitals, and just seeing how different healthcare systems work, and the people who work there, and how they try to work together to serve this community.
I had such a variety of clinical experiences. Because I was adult gerontology, it wasn't super clear to me what I was entirely doing, kind of where I was going. And so I had home-based primary care, I had the CLC, which is essentially about like a sniff setting. I got to go for occupational health over at Amgen, and I got to go into Optum for urgent care. So I felt like my clinical experiences were so diverse. I loved it because now in the residency program, I have an opportunity to be one of the first NPs in the geriatric clinic here. And because I have such a kind of wide range, I've been doing well in primary care. And now switching over to geriatrics, I can kind of pull on those clinical experiences I did have. And hopefully, it's same thing as in school. This is kind of my 6-month, not orientation, but interview for a position. And so I'm hoping I can draw on the experiences I did have.
So I'm currently still in the program, so I've only had 2 rotations, but so far it's been amazing. Both of my preceptors have been UCLA graduates. I did 1 rotation at Kaiser, and I'm currently at UCLA Ronald Reagan, and it's a mind-blowing experience. I work for a county hospital, so being in different health systems has been amazing.
Our next question is, what were some of the challenges you faced during the program, and how did you navigate or overcome them?
I think the load of papers, like Araceli had mentioned earlier, UCLA is really keen on writing, on research, and it is intertwined into every single class. So I think the amount of assignments that were due and balancing the due dates was really difficult for me. I have a small child, I have a family, I was working, and trying to make sure that I wasn't leaving things for last minute. I was a procrastinator in undergrad, and I could not do that in this program. Other people with less responsibilities outside of school maybe could have, but that wasn't my experience this time around. And I felt also that choosing topics to write about that were really fitting to your interest allowed you to remain like engaged and motivated in finishing your projects, finishing your papers, because you were really interested in topics, versus kind of going with something that's maybe an easier route, but you're not motivated to keep writing because it's not something that is interesting to you.
I would also agree the papers were very rough at times. So I completely understand the feeling that some of the students might be experiencing now. It was also very difficult to, figure out time management, because many of us have, other responsibilities, including work, family, other things that are going on in their life. For me personally, I did work night shift throughout this entire period, and it was difficult, but I mean, it is very doable. It's just, requires a lot of time management, and, knowing when you should also take some time off in between working and, taking care of your family and things like that, because that's super important, just to make sure you keep yourself going. And 2 years will fly by before you know it.
And I kind of echo both Nicole and Jen. Me and Jen worked night shift together in the same unit. And I think that was kind of the biggest challenge, is having a day off to make sure that I took care of myself. I don't have a little kid like Nicole, but it was still pretty challenging to make sure that I was mentally okay to be up to the challenge of writing all the papers and getting my assignments done, going to my clinicals, and then to be able to function at work. It's something where I took the days off when I needed it. I relied on my friends to help me with if I needed help with assignments, or if I wasn't sure about something, I would definitely reach out. And that's kind of how I got through, is my support system and really taking the breaks when I needed them.
I think also for me was the time management. Before I started the program, I had a very active social life. And, I had, my family, and I have a big family. So there was a party every weekend, a birthday party, and having to say no, and them not necessarily understanding, oh, we'll just come to eat, but then you're there and you're having a good time, and you feel bad just eating and leaving. So it was a struggle at the beginning because so many things happened. My grandfather passed away in the first quarter, and so my family will always be a priority, but I also had to get my stuff done because it's also a dream that I had. So the first 2 quarters were really difficult in me managing my time. I thought, oh, this is just like a little paper, I'll get it done. And then when I looked at the rubric, I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna get this done? There's no way. You have to look for all these articles. If it's a topic that you love, but there's not enough information on it, then you can't use it because you don't have any supporting data. So I learned how to manage my time, and it's I'm so much better now that every day I do something, and it could be something simple, just like formatting my paper or just looking for an article. But time management was definitely the biggest challenge. And also I thought I was going to be able to work more than what I am. And that was also hard because, I didn't want to give up my hours at work and finding people to work for me. So it was just an added stress. So now I have a plan. It's my second year, so everything is much better. But the beginning, like everyone else said, time management was an issue.
Thank you. And for our next question, what advice would you give to prospective students considering this program, and especially in terms of managing the academic and clinical demands?
Yeah, I think that there's like no one size fits all answer. Everybody is different in their responsibilities, outside of work, inside of, school. And I think you just have to do what works for you. Like Araceli said, she had a plan at the beginning and it changed. So it's kind of like assessing where you're at, adjusting as you go, and seeing what you can do and not overwhelming yourself. I think that also, speaking transparently to faculty is very helpful. I know a lot of students that had really big life events happen to them throughout the program, needed to take a break for a year, for a quarter, and they were accommodated because, life happens and taking care of yourself is important, like everybody has said. I think the other thing too, that some students may not be aware right away is supplementing your RN position with TA opportunities. So being a teaching assistant can help supplement like income and help with like tuition cost.
I would say, don't go into this program thinking like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I'm on top of everything, I'm gonna be the best student that I can, because realistically, it's very, very difficult, especially when you have so many things going on in your life. And it's important to be flexible because there are going to be some days that are extremely tough, and there are going to be days that you feel like you're on top of the world and you're like, okay, I feel like I kind of get a hang of this and I feel like I can do well. And then the next day you're like, oh no, I'm back in the dumps again. So it's an emotional roller coaster of a ride. So I think it's very important that prospective students understand that this is a very big commitment, and it's important to have friends and family to support you through this entire experience, because 2 years is, like I said, it's fast, but it's definitely not short. And you need a lot of support to get you through this program. And I think that's something that people may not know ahead of time. I think, they kind of find out as they start, like, okay, this is also a quarter system. So it's very, very quick. And I'm assuming many people who are applying to the program haven't been in school for, maybe a couple of years. So it is, it's gonna be a rough start for everyone, but it will definitely get better.
I think my advice would be it's okay if you don't know what you want to do. It's okay if this is kind of what you think your next step is. Just know that it's a slog. It does take a lot to kind of get through. And as you go through, you'll have those kind of indecisive, is this what I wanted to do? It's okay to not know. But just starting is the biggest hurdle for most people, and to kind of get that motivation to go out and to try it. You'll find that when you're actually in the program, you're surrounded by people who want the best for each other, and everyone's there to help support you through it. So I felt that even though I wasn't sure kind of where I was going when I first applied, it wasn't a regret of mine, but also with the mindset of, I thought, oh, my nurse job is so hard, it's so difficult. There are things that I didn't appreciate about it. Um, the nurse practitioner job afterwards is also its own battle. It is also it's different. It's just a different style of work. So don't expect, oh, I'm gonna get this beautiful job where I don't have to work as hard. It'll be great. Not that I expected that, but I feel like that's kind of some sentiment where I don't want to do this job, or I don't want to do this job because of this. To be open to the opportunities, especially if you're not intent on doing something in particular.
I think for me, before I started the program, I made sure that I was ready for this commitment. I did little things that I felt would be helpful, like for me. I was able to, I renewed like all my certifications that I have, so I wouldn't have to worry about it throughout the program, like simple things like ACLS, BLS that I required for my job. I just didn't want to deal with that. So I renewed it right before. And other certifications that I have, I renewed those also, so I don't have to worry about doing CEUs or anything like that during the program, because I felt like that was enough with what I had to do. I have a couple of classmates that work full-time, and because they said that they don't want to leave the lifestyle that they have, and they're stressed out, but they're doing it. So everybody has different levels of how to do, and everybody has different levels of self-care. One of my friends, she hired a cleaning lady for her house because she said that it stresses her out to have a dirty house, and that was her self-care because that's what she wanted. I think understanding that if you were an A student before and you get a B on a paper or in a class, it's not the end of the world. You have to focus on the experience, on what you learned, and you will improve for the next time. I think a lot of people ask me, oh, do you have a lot of homework? Do you have to write a lot of papers? And I say yes. And they're like, oh, so never mind. I don't want to apply because I don't want to do all that. So when you're applying to UCLA, you know that you're up for a challenge. I mean, there are a lot of schools that you could apply to, and that may have maybe less academic expectation, or maybe more flexibility, but it's really up to you on how much of you want to put into this program. The most important thing is that do not forget to do self-care, because you will get burned out. And whatever self-care is for you, I slept last Sunday all day because I was just so tired. Other people go out to the spa, other people, have a cleaning lady, other people go with the family. It doesn't matter, just do something for you. And if you do something like every single day, you're able to take those days where you're like, okay, I'm gonna just sleep today, or hang out with my family without feeling guilty that you have so much to do.
Thank you all for sharing. I want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day to help UCLA nursing students.